This part of the fight, I wanted Zurdo to go forward, okay? And I knew that played into Bivol's style, but I wanted
Mhm.
him in the fourth round to go forward but defensive. So the idea was to try to burn Bivol out, make him spend more energy than he wanted to in from 4 to 8. And even if we lost those rounds, the idea was to drain him to the point where in the round from round 9 to 12 or 8 to 12, we could go for a finish. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying? But
Mhm.
he wasn't able to get like, bro, it's just like with Bivol and Canelo. We couldn't get him to we couldn't get him to spend more than he wanted to. He's just gonna play his game. He's
Mhm.
never going to like try to like shock the crowd with something. That's why his even though he can punch, his knockout ratio isn't big because he's not a guy who cares about getting a finish. He cares about winning.
So here we are in La Casaca Boxing Club with Julián Chua, trainer John Cepeda, greatest progress and trainer right now of new WBA cruiserweight champion Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. I say it in a Spanish dialect. Far from going for a holiday after one of the greatest achievements he has made for his team and for Mexico, he's having one hell of a scrap. Get it? Next April the 20th with Scrappy Ramirez, who's going for the WBA Super Flyweight Interim Championship. Listen,
Yes.
I'm going to be frank with you, Julian. I didn't saw Zurdo winning this last fight with GOULAMIRIAN. It's amazing, the amazing work that you have done with him, and the whole team and the whole thing gave you the whole fight. I mean, I didn't in the pre-analysis, right? And then when I saw the fight, I say, damn, that's a hell of a good fight that Zurdo made, and I think he won it, of course. So, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. I really, really believe in the saying, "Don't let the highs get to your head, and don't let the lows get to your heart." So we're back in the gym. We're training. Sordo's back in the gym. He's training, and we're just excited for the future. We're very happy with what we've done, but we're far from satisfied or over. We have so much we want to accomplish, and there's so much history he wants to make for Mexico, and it's just an honor for me to be a part of history for such a great boxing nation as Mexico.
It's crazy. That's crazy. So I'll go for two questions right here. Zurdo Ramirez is one of the only, it's a one and only, sorry, cruiserweight champions from Mexico in the history of the Aztec nation, right? Did any one of you guys stop yourselves and think, damn, we actually did it? Because that is a great achievement for me.
Um, to be honest, yes and no. Yes, in the way where anything can happen in boxing. Yes, I understood that Gulamirian was a great champion, very strong, had a crazy reputation of like just putting people out and stuff like that. But no, in the way where I've always believed in Zurdo. I've always believed in Zurdo. I've always believed in his ability, in his boxing IQ, and he's always believed in me when it comes to coming up with the plan. And even though we both had every reason to feel off after the fight with Bivol, um, we never lost faith in each other and our teams. So yes and no, you know.
What was the meaning? Sorry, what was the main thing to have in mind while fighting someone like Bulamirian? So we just when talking about it, what was the main thing about him, and if there was any type of adjustment in between the fight too?
Um, the main thing was to not allow him to fight in the range that he wants to fight in.
Yeah.
We need to fight him. Of course, I would prefer very far away and keep him outside, but in the event, but what people don't understand, like to keep a you can't just box and keep a big guy who's
Yeah.
pressuring you like Gulamirian away on the outside the whole time, right? He's gonna come at you and he's gonna keep coming at you. So we I wanted to I could I when I studied him, I could see he wasn't that good at short distance either. He was very strong at middle distance, but inside, I know my fighter. I knew that Zurdo was better than him at
Hmm.
close distance. So the main idea was when we're far away, we're using our jab and we're tricking him. We're tricking him with feints and jabs and poking him from the outside. And when we get inside, we need to get all the way inside, and we need to be throwing uppercuts up the middle,
Yeah.
timing him with body shots and uppercuts. And man, he did it perfectly. He did it perfectly.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw him using his head, zurdo, the head, using it technically.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
He opened the gloves of
The gloves,
Gulamiria
yeah, with
just
his
so
head,
he
with
can,
his shoulder, of
yeah,
course,
very
inside
technical.
boxing.
That's really good. You don't see that much in boxing in general right now. Maybe you see it
That's
in
right.
like a small characters and small fighters, sorry,
Mhm.
but you
Mhm.
don't see really in big guys.
The last
So
big guy that did it well, I think, was Andre Ward. He was
yeah,
very
yeah,
good,
yeah,
like getting close and prying your guard with his limbs. He was able to like
yeah.
manipulate your limbs with his body, or manipulate your guard with his body. So, um, Surdo is very good on the inside. He's just as good on the inside as he is on the outside, and I think that's what makes him such a threat to everyone and in any division is his versatility.
Yeah, sure. And just talking about boxing in general, right? I know that you're just like us, and like Asaka Boxing Club, we actually love boxing. It's not just a job. Uh,
Yeah.
I know that you have some type of mania, like some type of obsession, just like us. So when I saw Gulamirian, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm saying stupid stuff right now, but I saw a little bit of Golovkin in him,
Of
right? And
course.
for me, Golovkin is one of the best middleweights I have ever seen, right?
Same.
There's a lot of difference between both of them, Gulamirian and Golovkin. Of course, there's a lot of differences, but I see a little bit of Golovkin in Gulamirian. I don't know if you saw something in that. I don't know if that's what Abel Sanchez have taught the guy, but I don't know what's your opinion on that.
Yes, the biggest difference between Gulamirian and Triple G is Triple G had a much better jab.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah,
His jab was piercing, and and Golovkin was just a. They look the same, but they're not in the way where like their decision making isn't not nearly on the same level. Like Gennady Golovkin, he had very good shot selection. He was very he never he rarely wasted punches. If he punched it to the body, next thing you know, he's coming over the top with the chopping left to the
yeah,
temple, stuff like that. Like he was just better at like at like his shot selection was better. When I watched Gulamirian, I saw that he would waste punches. He relied so much on like throwing hard that he didn't matter. It didn't matter whether he hit the gloves or whatever. He was gonna try to go through the defense instead of like intelligently like open the defense up. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that was the biggest factor of difference between him and Golovkin. Golovkin was a lot better with the shot selection.
Yeah, yeah, I agree completely.
Okay, I want to ask you, Julian, because between super light heavyweight and cruiserweight, there is 25 pounds difference.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
how did you adapt the style of Gilberto Ramirez from that weight to the new one?
Honestly, it's similar to 175, where when Zurdo was a 168 pounder, we had more freedom to weight to bully these guys with Zurdo's weight.
Yeah,
Like or he had more freedom to just, yeah, like use his weight. And now that we don't have that physical advantage, it's just important that Zurdo is able to just utilize skill more than like force. You know what I'm saying? So that's literally it. It's just trying to utilize his skills. Um, um and, and honestly, even if he was at super middleweight, I would still, and I would have just kept him still using his skills, because skills give you a long career. I care about Zurdo. I don't want him to like be taking punch. Like I know he can take a punch, obviously, but his defense has been his defense and control of distance has been a priority for me since we started.
Okay, it's an advantage for you to train boxers like from these kind of categories, from these kind of divisions, than the smaller ones, or is the same for you? Like train
Um,
like
It's the same for me. I mean, like I treat every one of my boxers like they're family to me, you know. So I don't, and I never got into training professional boxers for the money. I did it because I'm sure, like you guys, it's love of the game, you know.
Mhm.
So it doesn't, like everybody. I keep telling people, keep telling me, oh, you should get heavyweight. Heavyweights are where the money is. If it comes my way, it comes my way. But I don't care if it's a guy who's 115 or a big guy cruiser. Like if I train you, we're gonna give it our best.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. What we're talking about here is because it's just we are talking about boxing, proper boxing. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk to you about one very specific thing. You talked about it just a little bit regarding bivol. I wanted to ask you any type of reflection coming out from that loss, because it was a one big loss in Zurdo Ramirez. But look, there's not exactly a bad loss if there's something to win from it. And I think I've seen in the last fights since then a very good Zurdo Ramirez since then. So I just wanted to ask you about a reflection regarding the loss.
Um, yeah, like there's a lot I could say here, you know. First of all, Bivol is very good. You know, that's number one. You know, he's a great fighter on the pound for pound list. He's a tremendous fighter, and could we have done stuff better? Absolutely, but he was very naturally fast. He was
Yeah.
very fast at like getting out of the way, and but yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and sometimes it's got like what I'm gonna say next is gonna make me sound a little bit crazy, but I've watched that fight more times than anyone, and I watched him. I studied him before that fight more than anyone. I've seen every one of his fights multiple times. Okay, and you know, Zurdo, if you watch the fight closely, right, in the first 4 rounds, Zurdo was actually on the back foot, but he was keeping his distance and he was boxing him very well. And all the judges had the fight 2-2 going into the fifth round. Okay.
Mm.
And that's where things kind of fell apart for us. Right. So when I was in gosh, I'm kind of like skipping over things, but, and I hope you guys don't mind, but when I studied Bivol, the guys that he does best against, okay, are the guys who try to come at him. The
Yeah.
guy, if you try to pressure him, that's where Bivol is actually in his comfort zone.
Mhm.
That's where like he's so used to everyone having the game plan to attack him, that when someone is more patient and boxes him, he has a lot more trouble. And like if you watch his fight with Craig Richards, he had a lot of trouble with that guy. You watch his fight with Castillo, he had trouble with him. But you watch the guys like the Joe Smiths, the guys who come and attack him. He does much better, right? So this was my logic with the Bivol fight. Okay, I knew we were fighting. We lost the purse bid for Golden Boy, so Matchroom was going to host the show. I had a feeling there was no way we were going to win a decision against Bivol, especially if Zurdo only boxed on the back foot. I thought at some point we were going to have to try to either beat him down like badly or stop him. That was the idea, right? I did not believe we were going to win the decision boxing. So the first 4 rounds, I wanted him to box, and he did that part beautifully. It was 2-2 going into the fifth round. In the fifth round, this was the middle part of the fight, right? If you're separating a 12-round fight into 3 sections, the fourth round is going to be the middle of the fight, right?
Yeah.
This part of the fight, I wanted Zurdo to go forward, okay? And I knew that played into Bivol's style, but I wanted him in the fourth round to go forward but defensive. So the idea was to try to burn Bivol out, make him spend more energy than he wanted to from 4 to 8. And even if we lost those rounds, the idea was to drain him to the point where in the round from round 9 to 12 or 8 to 12, we could go for a finish. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
he wasn't able to get like, bro. It's just like with Bivol and Canelo. We couldn't get him to we couldn't get him to spend more than he wanted to. He's just gonna play his game. He's never going to like try to like shock the crowd with something. That's why his even though he can punch, his knockout ratio isn't big because he's not a guy who cares about getting a finish. He cares about winning. You get what I'm saying? And that's where
Yeah, yeah.
it's like what decision should we have made? Should we have continued to box him because it was 2-2? But I doubt we would have won a decision. You know what I'm saying? But then we also when we started going forward, we played into his hand, which made it look more masterful on his part. But you know, I got a lot of criticism for that fight, especially because I said the words, he doesn't adapt. And the thing about Bivol is he doesn't adapt. He's just very, very good at what he does. He's a one-dimensional fighter, honestly, but he's very good at that dimension. It's up to you to figure out that dimension. He's never gonna come forward with his hands up and start punching you in the body like a Chavez. He's never gonna like switch his guard to like a shoulder roll type of thing like Floyd. Like he's going to fight the way he fights, and it's up to you to figure that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but
For
no,
example,
yes,
yeah,
continue.
for example, Alexander Usyk, it's another fight that uses well the distance and it's a counter puncher. But in some moment of the fight, he comes to the game and he gives show.
Yeah,
Bivol stands there, wait there, and doesn't do anything else than, I
exactly,
don't know,
exactly.
stay
You
there.
know, it's funny. Like I said, everyone wants to shit on me for that fight. You know, you come up with a plan to fight
Yeah, yeah.
Dimitri
It's
Bivol.
impossible.
Like you, let's like it's so easy to talk. You know, and
Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, he should punch more. He should. Yeah, you don't think we thought of that? Like you know, people are just that's why it's hard to argue with an idiot, and it's nice to like to have to talk to people who know boxing, because that fight isn't an easy fight. He's a very good fighter, and honestly, if we were to fight him again, it's still hard to it's still hard to make a decision on what we would need to do to win. Do we keep boxing him and hope to God we win a decision, or do we try harder of playing into his hand? It's very it's not so simple.
yeah,
So
and
the,
some decisions you have to make inside the fight. Like,
Correct.
as you said, in the round four, it was 2-2. But what do we do if you continue with that plan? Bivol is gonna get better in the last rounds. If you can't train people, there's nothing you can change because people has a lot of skills, and he's conscious about his skills, and he's conscious about his weakness as well.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that's, I think, is the most important for a boxer to know. I am weak in this, so I have to avoid this the whole time. And he is like a cold-minded guy, like most of the
A laser.
Soviet
A
guys.
laser.
yeah.
So it's pretty complicated, mostly when you have a Latino with you, that
Yeah.
the blood is in
Blood
there.
boils.
And another thing about that fight too, Zurdo was going through something that would tear most men down. Like it's torn most people. I'm not the one to spread his business
Yeah,
and what
sure.
was
Don't worry.
what he was going on with his personal life. But all I know is Zurdo is a stronger man than me. I would not have fought him if I would not have fought the biggest fight of my life against Dimitri Bivol if I was going through what he was going through. I would have locked myself in a room and probably just drank myself to somehow feeling no pain. But
Mm,
he
Yeah.
was going
no.
he was going through something that nobody knows about. Only, or not nobody, but only the people who are close to him know about. So a lot of people, it's so easy to criticize, but you don't know what happens behind the in the personal life too, and that affects so many boxers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
we've seen the whole history of boxing, like guys during 12 rounds doing something that you say, okay, but this is not the guy I know, the guy I've seen in the last fight, in the last two fights. Something has happened in the last 6 months, 3 months in the camp. I don't know. Uh,
You
as
know,
you say,
I'm a little worried about Bivol because right now there's all these allegations about him
mhm.
beating his girl, and like
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
how can you go into a fight against Beterbiev and be mentally clear with like people saying, "Oh, you wife beater, you woman beater," blah blah blah. Like, you know, it's
Yeah, yeah.
hard. It's hard.
Yeah. If you think about it, it was going to happen. Like these kind of things tend to happen with every boxer that comes in the big lights.
Oh
At
yeah.
some moment, they were saying about, for example, with Zurdo before his fight with Vivo, that he was drinking too much and these kind of things. Sadly, these kind of things end up happening. Like they try to create things around boxers and the like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They love to do that. They love to do that. You know, we live in the craziest time period. We live in the
Yeah.
craziest age where the social media. You know, you have somebody who has a fake account with a
Yeah,
fake profile picture, uh, like on private, talking shit to warriors, like
yeah,
real warrior, like you're like
Yeah.
talking about how they're this and that, and you know what I mean, like, oh, they're spreading what rumors and lies, and it's just a very weird time where misinformation can be spreads like wildfire, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
They can ruin your career with just with
Your
a
life.
random comment. Yeah, yeah. So let me come back to something. For what I've seen in you, do you consider yourself an outsider in today's boxing in the boxing scene?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Because don't get me wrong, I think you walk the walk, but I see that you're more of a cerebral kind of trainer. Like you like to analyze outside of your time. You like to sit down and analyze. You just tell me that you watch several times the fight with Vivo. Just I've seen we have talked with a lot of trainers, and I see a lot of intuition, instinct in them. But you liked I don't think that you lack that. I don't think that you lack instinct, but you like to be a little more cerebral about it, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's nobody, actually, sorry, not nobody, there's only one fighter ever that fought way better or different than I expected them to. And the only one that was Inui. When he fought Fulton in
Yeah.
person, it was, I even saw Inui spar Azat. I was cornering Azat when he sparred Inui at Wildcard. That was the only time that I was like, this isn't the same guy I saw
Yeah, this
or
is
studied.
crazy. Yeah. This-
It's a different level. and
yeah.
and but to my point is that like studying opponents gives me a heads up on exactly what I feel we need to do, and like why wouldn't you? I understand the old school mentality because they didn't have access like we have access to now. I even I'm about to tell you guys a secret, okay, that not many people know. On YouTube, right? You
Yeah.
can change the speed of the
Mhm.
of watching whatever you're watching, and that's one of the things I do as well to see how, you know, guys respond to certain things. Like, does he come back right away all the time? So we need to be ready for that. How does he hold his hands? And no
Mhm.
guard in boxing is unstoppable. Even Floyd Mayweather's guard has openings. You need to know how to exploit those openings, and there are ways to see them. There are ways to see them, and I don't understand how people don't study film. Every other sport studies film. Football, soccer, maybe not the player necessarily, but the coaches need to. I think most coaches are over this game, and I could understand why, because it's fucked up, right? Boxing is a fucked up sport. I've been in it as a professional and for long enough to know how the business works, etc. I think most coaches are over it. They don't give a shit anymore. And honestly, what and if I didn't love this, I would be out of it 100%. Okay. But banking on me loving this, when someone loves something, you can tell because they spend their free time doing it,
Yeah.
right? So people don't understand it, and I read a lot of these comments. Like people don't understand how much time and effort gets put in. Social media is a lie. Okay, like my girlfriend doesn't get attention. Like she's on me all the time because all I'm doing is watching film in the shower. I'll have a fight on there. Whoever I'm watching, you know what I mean? Like whoever I'm watching for the next fight. You know, I'm constantly using my free time to expand like my knowledge in boxing. And I know I'm so far from being where I want to be. I know I don't know everything. I don't claim to know I know everything. I just want to keep trying my best to first of all, you know, let my fighters retire happy, healthy, and their families be set, and everybody rides off. And then also for myself, you know, I love boxing. I want to be recognized as someone who did their best and was able to, you know, make something of it, you know.
Julian, how is your team composition? Because you said a lot of how boxing is right now, and you have to video analysis, and you have to do a lot of things. So I think you don't have the time for everything. So how is your team right now?
I mean, it's funny because I like to like, and anybody will tell you here, I don't want to, you know, when it comes to the boxing, I find a way to do it all. You know, I find with every fighter, every fight they're fighting, all the training, all the mid work, all the sparring, getting them sparring, I do all of it. But
Who's
every
your girlfriend,
yeah,
man?
I was about to go there. But everything else in my personal life is handled by someone else. My birthday's in a couple of days. I haven't even thought about it because Scrappy fights. I got a guy fighting tonight in Orange County. I got a guy fighting. I got Scrappy fighting April 20th in on the Haney Garcia card. I got a guy fighting May 10th on ESPN boxing. He's going to be the main event, and just so like, yeah, that these are the only things I you know, I can remember and think about. You know.
I love it. I love it, man. I have one last question, and then I will give my partner the last talk. So, Scrappy Ramirez versus Medallita Jimenez next April 20th for the interim WBA belt. Is this the hardest fight for Scrappy in boxing terms regarding the styles? There was and if there were any negotiations with Yoka regarding the title.
Yeah, this I believe that this is Scrappy's hardest and best opponent. To me, there's no doubt about it. You know, he arguably won the fight with his only loss. He arguably won that fight with Artem Delekian. I've watched that fight multiple times. Fight could have gone either way. And then he beat Ricardo Sandoval, which is a very good win. You know,
Mhm.
so this guy, he's nothing to play with. But at the end of the day, when I watch him, does he beat Bam, Jesse Rodriguez? Absolutely not. Does he even beat you know, Juan Francisco Estrada or Chocolatito? Absolutely not. So if we can't get past this guy, what gives us the right to move on to the next guys? You know, there's no there, you know, and it's and I'm not win, lose or draw. Scrappy's not going to be done. It'll be a learning experience. I don't see him losing this fight because I think that Scrappy's a better boxer. I think he's more skilled. I think he has, but this kid we're fighting, he's not a one-dimensional guy. He can go forward, he
Mhm.
can go backward, he moves a lot, he's got a lot of movement, you know. But I still don't think that. I think Scrappy is a better fighter, you know. So yeah, but he's a tough opponent. I'm excited, but I think Scrappy's taking this fight super seriously, and I think he's the type of guy that rises to the occasion. When the level goes up, he shows up even better. I truly believe that. So I'm excited to see him do this. And I want to give a. I did do a lot of work with ZURDO, and we've done a lot of work since for the last 6 years. And even Abel told me he recognized, because Zurdo has worked in Big Bear, and he was like, that was
Mhm.
a different guy. But I want to give a lot of credit to the Saparis to for what their work with Zurdo all the way up until this point. But with Scrappy, this is going to be a different feeling to win the interim, even though it's not the against Ioka. And with regards to Ioka, I don't really know exactly what happened and the ins and outs of that. I just know that he wanted to go a different direction. But with Scrappy, he's one of the guys out of many guys that I have that I built from the very, very, very beginning.
Mhm.
And he started boxing very, very late, like 20 something. So to be able to create him in the way I want, it's going to be a massive accomplishment to me, to myself. I really don't care about all the other stuff. It's me to myself that I was able to create this guy.
Julian, knowing your background and your impossibility to compete until 17 years old, how is for you to start building a boxer after 20 years old, as you say about Scrappy?
I
Is
I
it
I
so difficult?
I doubted it. I doubted it, and then until he showed me, Scrappy's
Okay.
a special guy. He's not scared of anyone or anything. And the thing that caught my attention with him is that he has, well, one, you have everything that you cannot teach. He has those
Mhm.
intangibles. You cannot teach work ethic. You cannot teach heart. You cannot teach will like the dog. You cannot teach that.
Mhm.
That is something that they have or they don't, right? But and then he's also like, he's athletic. He's played sports, all that, right? With him, he just needed to learn how to box technically and
Yeah.
tactically. And and he's always been extremely receptive to whatever I tell him. That's the main reason why I took him on, is because of those things. Me and the our management company. I want to give a big shout out to David Sue. He has been
Mhm.
the core behind the scenes of brick house boxing and me. So big shout
Yes.
out to him.
Julian, one last question. I want you to talk me about a date in your life, February 26, 2010.
That's the first day I came to Wildcard. That's the first day I came to Wild Card. I did a tryout in front of Freddie, and Freddie was like, he can fight, and he's willing. Bring him back. Well, help him get ready, and that's when life changed. But I've had so many life changing moments that
Mhm.
I almost forgot about that one. And that's what's beautiful about this, is that, like, it's just every fight to me is just like a beautiful event in my life. And the day that I don't get that feeling anymore, I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna be out, because that feeling and that pressure is what makes me use my free time to study, to work hard, to not delegate this and that to all these other, to have like a bunch of assistants to help me and all this stuff. Like I love Coach Malik. He's very good at just, he doesn't have his own ulterior like motive when it comes to, he just takes my lead. Whatever I say, he's got a louder voice than me. I say something, he'll say it louder. He's just, and but when and he'll tell you himself, like, he just takes my lead. He just follows whatever I say, and it, like, the only time he really, like, and I appreciate him for stepping in whenever I leave out of town or something like that,
Mhm.
because it, with having so many fighters, I like, when I leave to New York, who's gonna watch my other guys? You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
helps
yeah.
me a lot with that, so I have great support with him.
That is crazy, man. I'm just loving the story. I love that question that my friend just gave it to you, because he was like hiding it. He didn't tell me about it. That's crazy,
Yeah.
man. Julian, or like we say, Julian. Thank you very much for your interview. It was amazing. I hope you like it. I'm gonna take a while making the whole translation, but I hope you like it. I hope you like being here. It was a really nice conversation to have with you. But thank you very much for being here, brother.
Of course, look, you guys are cool people, and I love the questions, and I love the conversation. I love the vibe of this interview. So whenever I have free time and after the next fight or whatever fight next, whatever, I'll come in and join you whenever you'd like.
Thank you very much, brother. I'm gonna tease you about that because you just told me that you
Yeah.
want to be here again. So I'm gonna bully you again for it.
I
Thank you
do.
very much.
Compromise.
Thank you very much, brother. See you.